Willow Creek was the kind of place where lawns were trimmed like green carpets, mailboxes gleamed in the sun, and everyone waved whether they meant it or not. And in the middle of this perfect little suburb lived Grandpa Joe Whitmore, a retired carpenter with silver hair, a soft voice, and hands that could fix anything. Except, maybe, the HOA Grandpa Joe was 78, widowed, and proud of his small blue cottage at the end of Elmwood Lane. Every morning, he'd sit on his porch with a cup of tea, humming old jazz tunes, surrounded by the birdhouses he'd carved himself. To his neighbors, he was the soul of the block. To the HOA, however, he was a repeat violator. It started one Monday morning when Joe found a bright yellow envelope on his porch. Notice of violation. Unauthorized decorations on front lawn. He blinked, confused. The decorations were 3 wooden birdhouses he'd built for the neighborhood kids. Each one painted by little hands, pink, blue, yellow, signed with names like Sophie and Eli. Joe sighed. "Guess beauty needs a permit now," he muttered. He went to the HOA office, a beige building that smelled like paperwork, to talk it out. Behind the desk sat Margaret Henson, the strict HOA president, early 50s, immaculate bun, and a smile that could curdle milk. "Mr. Whitmore," she said, "we appreciate your creativity, but decorations must be HOA approved. Rule 14C. They're just birdhouses," Joe said kindly. "Rules are rules," she replied. He removed them, reluctantly, but the kids cried when they saw the empty lawn. That night he promised them quietly, "Don't you worry. We'll find another way to bring the birds back." 2 weeks later came another letter. Violation. Fence color not approved. Must be repainted within 10 days. Joe's fence had been a gentle sky blue for decades, the color his late wife, Martha, loved. She'd painted it with him one spring afternoon 30 years ago. He touched the old wood that evening, remembering her laughter. "You'd think they'd have better things to do," he told her memory. Instead of repainting, he sanded and polished the fence lovingly, making it glow brighter than ever. That didn't sit well with the HOA. Margaret arrived personally the next morning. Clipboard in hand. "Mr. Whitmore, this shade is unauthorized. You need to file Form 62B for repainting." Joe smiled. "You know, Margaret, maybe what this fence really needs is a little compassion form. You got one of those?" She didn't laugh. As the summer went on, Joe became the quiet rebellion of Willow Creek. The kids adored him. They'd stop by after school, sit on his porch, and listen to stories about how he built his first house from scratch at age 20. He taught them how to carve, how to plant flowers, how to listen to the wind slowly. Joe's backyard became a mini paradise. A little wooden swing, colorful birdhouses, and benches he built from recycled planks. To the HOA, it was chaos. To the neighborhood, it was magic. Soon parents started visiting too. They brought lemonade, pies, and smiles. His home became the heart of the block. Then came the storm. Not of rain, but paperwork. Unauthorized gathering. Improper use of backyard space. Unapproved garden installations. Margaret sent letters every week. Joe's mailbox overflowed with warnings. Finally, one morning, he found a final notice. Failure to comply will result in fines and possible property seizure. Joe chuckled softly. "You can take my tools, but you won't take my kindness." Still, it weighed on him. He couldn't sleep. He missed Martha. He missed when neighbors were family, not rule enforcers. Then came the idea. Joe spent 3 nights in his garage, sawing, painting, crafting. When the sun rose on Saturday, everyone on Elmwood Lane woke to something extraordinary, a giant wooden sign in Joe's yard that read, "Community Day, everyone welcome," and beneath it, a hand-painted banner, "No forms, no fines." Just kindness. He'd built stalls from scrap wood, benches from old pallets, and a small stage for the kids to perform. Neighbors poured out of their homes, laughter, music, food everywhere. The air smelled of barbecue and freedom. For the first time, people talked. Really talked. Mrs. Garcia from number 12 hugged Margaret's assistant. The Harris kids danced with the Chen twins. Even the HOA treasurer cracked a smile. When Margaret arrived, clipboard in hand, she froze at the sight of it all. "Mr. Whitmore, this is unauthorized!" Joe smiled. "Maybe, but it's also beautiful." He handed her a cup of lemonade. She hesitated, then took it. Margaret sat quietly on a bench, watching everyone laugh and eat together. Kids ran barefoot, couples danced, and Joe played an old harmonica tune. Something in her melted. She saw what Joe had created, not a rule-breaking lawn, but a community that had been missing for years. When the music stopped, she walked to the stage. "Mr. Whitmore," she said into the microphone, "on behalf of the HOA, I'd like to say something." Everyone turned silent. "I came here to shut this down, but instead I realized maybe we've been shutting people down for too long. So from today, I propose a new rule. Rule 0, kindness first." The crowd erupted in applause. Joe chuckled, bowing his head slightly. "About time," he whispered. Weeks later, the HOA board changed its tone completely. They approved Joe's garden officially and even renamed the annual summer fair to the Whitmore Community Day. Margaret started visiting more often, not to inspect, but to chat. She and Joe became unlikely friends, often seen laughing on his porch with teacups in hand. The neighborhood blossomed. People painted fences brighter, planted more flowers, and waved, this time meaning it. One afternoon, little Sophie asked, "Grandpa Joe, how did you make everyone happy again?" He smiled gently. "I didn't make them happy, sweetheart. I just reminded them how." A year later, Joe passed peacefully in his sleep, sitting on that same porch, tea still warm beside him. When news spread, the whole neighborhood gathered. They painted every mailbox blue, Martha's color, and filled the yards with birdhouses. Hundreds of them, painted by children. At the annual Community Day, Margaret gave a short speech. "He taught us rules keep a place tidy, but kindness keeps it alive." As the sun dipped below Willow Creek, a soft wind blew through the birdhouses, and the sound of little wooden chimes filled the air, like applause from the heavens. And somewhere, if you listened close enough, you could almost hear Grandpa Joe's voice, warm and smiling. "Told you, compassion's the best rule of all."